For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Texas seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 35, printed in House Report number 114-359, offered by Ms. Jackson Lee of Texas.
Pursuant to House Resolution 542, the gentlewoman from Texas, Ms. Jackson Lee, and a member opposed will each control 5 minutes. Chair recognizes the gentlelady from Texas.
I thank the chairman very much. I just want to take a moment, Mr. Chairman, as we have been debating important energy issues on the floor of the House, to offer my deepest sympathy to the families that have lost loved ones in San Bernardino, and hope that we will come together as a country and find solutions to this terrible tragedy. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce this amendment because it talks about the goodness of this nation and the wonderment of our youth. My amendment particularly is called the Youth Energy Enterprise Competition, and it asks the Secretaries of Energy and Commerce to jointly establish an energy enterprise competition to encourage youth to propose solutions to the energy challenges of the United States and to promote youth interest in careers in science, technology, engineering, and math, especially those fields that relate to energy. As a member of the United States Congress, I've had the privilege of being on the Congressional Awards Board that provides medals to young people across the country for their public service, for their volunteerism. I can see when they come to Washington the excitement and the future of this nation. I truly believe that the future of this nation is in energy independence, economic growth, national security, and expanding opportunities. And diversifying the energy sector workforce are critical issues we must invest our time and talent in. Across America, colleges, community colleges, high schools, middle schools are talking about science, technology, engineering, and math. We're trying to introduce our children to the wonders of science, technology, engineering, and math. I do it by introducing my young people to NASA Johnson, inviting them down to the Space Center and watching their eyes open in amazement. Or my annual Toys for Kids effort, big Christmas party, and the most popular entity is the astronaut and the space exhibit. So I know it is in our children. My amendment is consistent with the administration's commitment to promoting our national and economic and homeland security interests and empowering our youth. And so it asks the Energy Department, Secretaries and Commerce to develop a challenge so that our young people can compete with their ideas about the energy challenges of America. It is a good approach to getting ideas to those of us who are policymakers, or maybe even to the world of the energy industry, from those in Silicon Valley, and when I say that, dealing with high tech, to the hard-nosed energy in our Midwest, and certainly down to Houston, Texas, where we're dealing with LNG, natural gas, and oil, and looking for new ways to produce that product in a safe and environmentally secure way. I think this competition will bring forth new ideas, excited young people, maybe starting from elementary or middle school, certainly working with young people in high school and rewarding them for their talent. Mr. Speaker, this is a number of pictures from my district. One exhibits a community garden, but really is teaching young people about soil and the idea of how you raise trees and dealing with the science of farming. And then you have them also dealing with a drone, knowing the technology of that and using it in a good way. And so I have faith in America's youth, and I believe that this amendment will help us bring to the forefront their talent, but bright new ideas to make this nation the kind of strong and powerful nation that we know it is, but more importantly, using the genius of our youth to face the 21st century energy challenges. With that, I ask my colleagues to support it, and I reserve my time.
Gentlelady reserves.
Excuse my voice.
For what purpose? Gentleman from Michigan.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask for 5 minutes, the 5 minutes in opposition to the amendment.
Gentleman's recognized for 5 minutes.
But there is no way that I could oppose this amendment. Let me just say from the beginning, this amendment directs the Secretaries of Energy and Commerce to jointly establish an energy enterprise competition to promote youth interest in careers in science, technology, engineering, and math, especially as those fields related to energy. I heard from one of my heroes today, Dean Kamen, probably the best inventor of our time. He has, on his own, started just a wonderful program employing hundreds of thousands of youth all around the country, all around the world. Competition called First Robotics to really get high school and middle school students invested in looking at the science of so many different things in competition that I participated in. My governor, who's in town, Rick Snyder, tonight was honored, I think, as the #1 guy in the nation. Earlier this year in Michigan, we're going to have the national competition in Detroit, I want to say, in 2 years. But I've been at the regional competition for this, and, where kids and mentors and companies are invested. This is the future in science, in so many different things. And this is a great amendment. I would urge all my colleagues to vote for it. And I know that as I look at my friendship with Dean Kamen, he would probably never talk to me again if I oppose the amendment. It's a great amendment. It should have been done as part of our committee, Mark. I look forward to working with the education committees and appropriators to make sure that it's funded. But it's a good thing, and I would urge all my colleagues to support it, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. Gentlelady from Texas is recognized.
I yield to the gentleman, distinguished gentleman, and I thank the gentleman from Michigan. I yield to the distinguished gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Pallone.
Gentleman from New Jersey is recognized.
Thank you. I just want to thank my colleague from Texas for coming up with such a great program for young people. Just listening to her and the sense of optimism about the future, which I think is what we need to encourage with our young people. And I was so pleased to see that that the chairman of our committee also supports it. So I would like to lend my support and urge the amendment's adoption. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
I thank you, if I may, Mr. Chairman, thank Mr. Upton for his enthusiasm. Dean Kamen is a hero of all of us. And as I said, the greatest joy that I've seen in my young people when I invite them out is going to NASA Johnson out in Houston, and as well when I bring the astronauts either to their schools, or more importantly when NASA goes out to the schools. But when I have this big Christmas party, Santa Claus comes, but I will tell you that the astronauts are enormously popular. I want to thank Mr. Pallone as well for being committed to the energy and the dreaming and the inspiration and talent of our young people. And that's what this amendment is about. I hope we can work together to find the funding, but more importantly, to get our young people engaged. I think they'll have a lot of answers. I ask my colleagues to support this amendment. With that, I yield back.
Gentlelady's time has expired. The question's on the amendment offered by the gentlelady from Texas. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed will say no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. It's now in order to consider amendment number 36, printed in House